Ready? Yeah, I would like to call to order the public meeting, Delran Township. Could you all stand, please, and salute the flag?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Jamie, could you read the sunshine statement, please?
Be advised that proper notice has been given by the Township Council in accordance with the Sunshine Law in the following manner. Notice advertised in the Burlington County Times and Camden Courier Post on January 7, 2021, and posted on the bulletin board on the same date. Mr. Smith?
Here.
Mr. Jenny?
Here.
Ms. Pareo? Here. Mr. Lyon?
Here.
Mr. Burrell?
Okay, at this time, we are going to present some proclamations for fire personnel and police officers. Mr. Mayor?
Yes, please join me, council. So quiet. Thank you very much. You're being on your best behavior. Pay no attention to the men in the back of the bus. Feel free. Anyone from the families would like to take pictures, you're welcome to do that as well. Feel free to step up. At this time, I'm going to recognize that we also have with us Commissioner Dan O'Connell, who is the liaison of public safety, the Burlington County Commissioner with us, and felt as a Delran resident as well, was important enough to be here to share in these proclamations. So I'm going to ask that of those present, from the proclamations for the firefighters, I know that Dave Lusner is here and Bob Borsick Sr., is that correct? No? Come on. Do we have, well, we'll recognize everyone else. I don't see any of the others here, do we know? No, sir. August, ladies and gentlemen, in New Jersey, it's vacation season, so we'll have, gentlemen, why don't you come up, if you come right up over here. You know, I'm pretty good. It's good to see you. Let me just grab these and stuff. I'm blocked in. Sorry, so get down.
It's not our order.
Yeah. So I'd like to read the proclamation. There is one proclamation that will be received by all, and you hear more names that are here with us this evening. They will also receive the proclamation. Here we go. Whereas the Delran Fire Department and Delran Police Department serve an essential role in the protection of lives and property in the Township of Delran every day. And whereas on May 27, 2021, the Delran Township Fire Department, Police Department, and Delran Emergency Squad were dispatched to a report of a building fire at the Garden Club condominiums on Natalie Road. And whereas upon arrival, multiple units of the 3-story condominium were found engulfed in flames with heavy smoke and high heat conditions extending into the living quarters, the roof area, and blocking stairwell exits. And whereas at the direction of Chief Kevin Peak, firefighting personnel consisting of Lieutenant Joseph Parento III, Firefighter Foreman Schmealy III, Firefighter Dave Lusner, Firefighter Paul Matlock, and Firefighter Bob Borsick Sr. and Firefighter Bob Borsick Jr. were ordered to attack the fire and to assist in the rescue of 7 trapped occupants, including a mother and her 6-month-old infant who sought refuge on their balconies. And whereas, due to the quick and efficient actions of the members on the scene from the Delran Township Fire Department, Delran Police Department, and Delran Emergency Squad, all of the victims were safely rescued within 10 minutes of the first unit arriving on scene. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed on this day, August 3rd, 2021, I, Gary Catherine, Mayor of Delran Township, on behalf of the entire council and the citizens we serve, do hereby recognize and commend the bravery, quick action, and exemplary conduct of Lieutenant Joseph Parento III, firefighter Foreman Schmele III, firefighter Dave Luschner, firefighter Paul Matla, firefighter Bob Borsick Sr., and firefighter Bob Borsick Jr., resulting in the best possible outcome for everyone involved. Gentlemen. I do. Post-it notes everywhere. Anyone like to take a picture, feel free to come up. And I would ask if we could have a nice round of applause for our. Thank you, gentlemen. Congratulations.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. I would ask at this time that Sergeant Michael McCurdy, Patrolman Joseph Horton, and Patrolman Kevin Pepper, if you please come forward. Again, if families want to take pictures, feel free to do so. I'll read the contents of the proclamation for everyone to hear. Whereas substance abuse and addiction affect people of all ages and genders, regardless of ethnic, socioeconomic, religious, academic, or occupational backgrounds. And whereas addiction-related deaths in the United States have increased dramatically throughout the United States, and whereas addiction is recognized as an escalating medical crisis which poses a grave public health risk to this and every community. And whereas Delran Township Police Officers Sergeant Michael McCurdy, Patrolman Joseph Horton, Patrolman Kevin Pepper recognize the importance of helping the residents of the Township of Delran and our community. And whereas both the Straight to Treatment Program and Hope One Burlington County offer critical support for individuals and their families struggling with addiction, prevent drug overdoses and deaths, and provide access to treatment, recovery, support services. And whereas Patrolman Kevin Pepper planned, coordinated, and organized a Straight to Treatment outreach event, bringing the program, along with the Burlington County Sheriff Department Hope One Mobile Access Unit, to the Township of Delran on July 16, 2021. And whereas numerous people in the Delran Township suffering from addiction and their families have benefited from the resources, counseling, and treatment made available to them. Whereas Sergeant Michael McCurdy, Patrolman Joseph Horton, and Patrolman Kevin Pepper have gone above and beyond to help individuals suffering from addiction and their families by working toward treatment as a solution for addiction and understanding its cause, is of the utmost priority and benefit to everyone affected by this devastating situation. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed on this day, August 3rd, 2021, I, Gary Katzenbone, Mayor of Delran Township, on behalf of the entire council and the citizens we serve, do hereby recognize and commend the dedication and hard work of Sergeant Michael McCurdy, Patrolman Joseph Horton, and Patrolman Kevin Pepper, and express our sincere appreciation for their commitment to encouraging positive change in our community. Gentlemen. room over against the private park. Once again, a nice round of applause for the gentleman. Thank you, everyone, for staying. If you'd like to stay, you're welcome to do so. There's no cover charge for the rest of the meeting. However,
Motion. I'll second.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Jenny?
Aye.
Ms. Pareo? Aye. Mr. Lyon?
Aye. Motion carries. Resolution 2021-129, approving the corrective action plan based on the recommendations in the 2020 audit. Can I have a motion, please?
Motion. I'll second.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Jenny?
Aye.
Ms. Pareo? Aye. Mr. Lyon?
Aye. Motion carries. Resolution 2021-130, awarding a contract for the purchase of a sewer camera truck through the Houston Galveston Area Council Cooperative Pricing Agreement and the total amount not to exceed $224,640.61. Could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
I'll second.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Jenny?
Aye.
Ms. Pareo?
Aye.
Mr. Lyon?
Aye. Motion carries. Resolution 2021-131, authorizing the purchase of a New Holland B95 backhoe through the Sourcewell Purchasing Network national contract in the lump sum amount of $97,250. Can I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion. Second.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Jenny?
Aye.
Ms. Pareo?
Aye.
Mr. Lyon?
Aye. Motion carries. All right, we have the consent agenda. Resolutions 2021-132 through 136. Does anybody have any objections to any of the consent agenda? All right, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda, please?
Motion. I'll second.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Jenny?
Aye.
Ms. Pareo?
Aye.
Mr. Lyon?
Aye. Motion carries. A motion authorizing the payment of bills, including all purchases made under the Cooperative Purchasing Agreement.
I'll make a motion. Second.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Jenny?
Aye.
Ms. Pareo?
Aye.
Mr. Lyon?
Aye. Motion carries. Need a motion accepting the report of the CFO, including the June year-to-date revenue report, year-to-date budget report, and June check register.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Jenny?
Aye.
Ms. Pareo?
Aye.
Mr. Lyon?
Aye. Motion carries. I need a motion accepting the report of the tax collector and the township clerk.
I'll make a motion. Second.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Jenny?
Aye.
Ms. Pareo?
Aye.
Mr. Lyon?
Aye, motion carries. I need a motion granting a mercantile license to the Delran Coffee Shop, where we have a new owner at 102 Bridgeboro Street, and the Butcher and the Grill, 4004 Route 130 North.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Jenny?
Aye.
Ms. Pareo?
Aye.
Mr. Lyon?
Aye, motion carries. Now we'll move on to our reports. Like to call up the fire who's jumping forward today. Chief, how are you?
Good, sir. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Good. It's been a busy month for July since we last met. We've had 63 calls of service since the last meeting, 403 calls of service to date for the year since January 1. On the 9th and 10th, we assisted the Delran PD with a boat search. There was a boat found in the Riverside Marina, across from the Riverside Marina, dried up and beached itself on the mud. We went on the boat, and luckily we went on the boat at the right time because there was still a candle lit from whoever was previously on the boat. The next day we went out to help PD and State Police recover a deceased body out of the water that was washed up ashore that jet skiers found on their way back into the marina. On the 12th, we've had 18 calls of service in that day for the storms that came through. The storms kind of put pretty much a stop on Chester Avenue in a lot of places, a lot of flooding. We've had to rescue a couple people out of their vehicles, both in and out of town. We had rescuers in water rescue suits at the ready as soon as they came out of stations and on the streets, just in case they were needed to be deployed. We were dispatched into Palmyra and Riverton for a couple of calls, but they were able to handle their own. Same with Riverside, as we do with our mutual aid, as always. On the 21st, the second round of storms that came through, we had a few power lines and trees that came down with the power lines in the Stewart Avenue section of town. On the 24th, again, in the marina section in between Amigo Island and Dredge Harbor Marina, a jet skier was coming into the marina late at night, didn't notice that the mud had washed, or the water had receded enough to show mud sandbar, got himself wedged on a sandbar. He was there for a few hours before somebody was able to actually see if there was somebody in distress, and they called 911. We went out there along with Delran PD and Delran EMS. We really obtained verbal and communicated contact via cell phone with the jet skier. There was no issue. They were just washed ashore. They were waiting for the tide to roll in. We made our notifications to the State Police and Coast Guard. State Police came out. By the time they were able to deploy a boat, the jet skier had enough water to get underneath of himself, and he was able to gain propulsion and go back to his original location. And on the good note, on the 28th, this past Wednesday, we had 6 members of the DFD graduate firefighter 1 through the Burlington County Firefighters, or through the Burlington County Training Association, so that's a good thing. So, and that is all.
All right, and I'd just like to add to the whole staff, the department, thank you for all you do, and we really, really appreciate all your efforts and your dedication and your commitment. You're out there in these horrible storms while we're all sheltering in place, but we do appreciate everything and your commitment and the service to the community.
No problem at all. We also appreciate the support of the board and the mayor and town council.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we'll move on to report from our clerk, Jamie Eggers.
I have no report tonight.
Administrator Jeff Hatcher.
I have a couple of items. I just wanted to update Township Council and the public. We're going through our employment practice liability risk management program process. Part of it was today. We have to update our personnel policy procedure manual, which has been done. Distribute the Conscientious Employee Protection Act information to all of our employees, which has been done. Provide the employee handbook to all of the employees, which has been done. Passed the Model Civil Rights Resolution, which was done this evening, and provide managerial and supervisory training to all of our department heads, as well as the police staff training and training on anti-harassment for all the employees. And we're just finishing that now. Once we submit to the state, we end up with a lower deductible and lower copay through the Municipal Excess Liability Fund. We're also going through the process this month of providing our exposure review process, which is basically updating all of our equipment, all of our property, and all of our vehicles that receive coverage, and that process is ongoing. And then finally, tonight, you approved the audit. I want to thank all the department heads. It was an excellent audit, and for that to take place, all the department heads have to provide their cooperation, and also recognize Karima Press, our CFO, who did a nice job. This year was her first year and her first audit, so did an excellent job. That's all I have this evening.
Thank you, Jeff. We appreciate everything you do, keeping everything in order and staying on top of all this stuff to keep our rates low and the town running great. We do appreciate it. Next report is from Mayor Catcham-Boone.
Thank you, Tom. I have just a couple of quick items, just a real nice note. Opening very soon, we invite you all to go out to Cops and Cones. The Delran Police Department and Delran FOP Lodge 230 is proud to partner up with Toppings at Amore, which many of you know as Pizza Amore, but they've added a new thing, and they're, of course, at 77 Hartford Road. If you come out on Monday, August 16th, from 6 to 8 for Cone with a Cop, children 12 and under will receive a free child-side salt serve cone or cup. Delran police officers will be in attendance to serve ice cream and interact with the kids or the parents, and children will have an opportunity to take pictures in the police car. We encourage you to stop out and see that. Also, a number of folks have mentioned about people soliciting in town door to door without a permit. Just hoping to keep people safe and remind you, you don't ever let anyone in your home. Please ask to see their solicitation permit. If they don't have one or you don't feel comfortable, close the door and call 911. If not for you or maybe your neighbor or someone who is unsuspecting, we would hate someone to be duped because we didn't make that call. Also like to mention where we had our proclamations today, our Straight to Treatment program has been a success and is saving lives, and I thank those folks both on the county level, Commissioner, and locally that do all they can to help save these lives. And just a note that yesterday, the Delran Summer Camp started, and good for them. That's my report. Council Vice President?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Next would be the report from our solicitor, Sal Siciliano.
No report, sir.
Thank you. Now we'll go to reports from council members. I will start to my far right, Councilman Harlow Smith.
Thank you very much. Just wanted to quickly recognize once again the Delran Fire Department and the Delran Police Department. Guys do a fantastic job keeping everyone safe. So just thank you for all your hard work. Had the opportunity to actually go out along with Councilman Jenny and Councilwoman Correa and Mayor Katrenbaum to the event that we had near Esquire Liquors, and it was successful. I mean, we had a chance to go out to the community, distribute information about, anyone that might have substance abuse. And, I was impressed by the way that we, were able to work with the police and also the other volunteers that were there from Project Hope. So just wanted to I'm just impressed by the way the town's come together, and we've done a fantastic job of trying to keep our residents safe. So just wanted to give shout out and kudos to everyone, and thanks for all the hard work. End of report.
Thank you, Marlo. Next, Councilman Jenny.
I have no report other than to say I echo the comments of Councilman Smith and the mayor. You were very thankful for the volunteers and the fine officers we have in Delran.
Thank you, Lynn. Councilwoman Parejo.
No report this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. And for my report, I would just like to echo once again, all our employees here in Delran. They really are dedicated and do a great job, and we appreciate all of them. And if you know anybody or yourself, it's still not too late to get vaccinated. We need to stay on top of this. It's rearing its ugly head again. So if anybody, you can encourage them to get vaccinated or take a look at it yourself, that'd be the smart thing to do. That is my report. So we'll move on now to public. So I need a motion to open up the floor for public comment, please.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the floor is now open for public comment. If you're going to step forward, please state your name and address for the record. Commissioner, I know you wanted to.
Public first.
Okay, all right. Go ahead, sir. He's deferring.
Council, I just have a few things.
Could you
I'd
state
like to-
your name and address for the record?
Yes. Bill Pfeffer, 43 Northchester Avenue, Delran.
Awesome, thank you.
The first thing that I have is, can anyone on council tell me when the rat-infested building that used to be Melanie's Pizza on St. Neil Drive and Chester Avenue, when that will be demolished? It's been over 2 years. It is an eyesore. It is probably filled with rats and vermin, and nothing's being done. We need action. We need that building torn down.
Jeff, is there any movement on that?
Council Vice President, I could just say that on several occasions, we've had a construction officer out there to secure. There was a vehicle there for a while that was removed. There were a number of things, precautions that were taken. I don't know about rat infested, but we will have them go out again tomorrow to make sure that that's not the situation. Again, that's private property. Is there anything else from a legal perspective that we can do to encourage them to demolish that building?
Well, there are several steps you can take before we get to demolition. I mean, in the immediate future, code enforcement, to the extent if you ever see any sort of rats or infestation, I mean, you can call, make the notifications right away to the county, to the public health, because they'll respond immediately. That's a public health crisis. With regard to the demolition of the building, there's several questions that come up. I mean, obviously, as the mayor said, individual private property. So to the extent that the taxes are being paid, I'm not familiar if there's a tax lien on the property, if there's a mortgage on the property, a bank or financial institution may have an interest in that. So those are many steps that we would have to go through before we can demolish the building. But the most pressing, obviously, code enforcement. If code enforcement is out there, we can certainly cite the property owners. And again, if you sense anything with regard to a public health question, notify the county and they will immediately dispatch someone.
Yeah, my concern is for young kids
Absolutely valid.
getting into that property and, someone may be really getting injured badly. It is a real danger, and sure,
The
some
legal
kind of
phrase-
action's gotta
yeah.
be taken to get that building destroyed.
It's called an attractive nuisance, and unfortunately it happens too often where it's attractive to some, as you said, some younger citizens, and then they go in, they may get in there for mischief and things like, and injure themselves, or far worse things can happen. So for our purposes, as long as the code enforcement officer is there, ensuring that the building is secure, windows are boarded up, there's no signs of anybody entering the building, windows broken, doors jimmying, things of that nature. That's sort of the limits that we can do, aside from tax liens, demolition, if it's unsafe structure, things of that nature. But don't hesitate to call and alert if you sense or see any of those things. Please notify us immediately.
Well, so then this will probably go on and on for, we don't know how long.
I can't say that. I mean, what I can say is if and again, I don't know, but if taxes are being paid, if they're current with their taxes, I don't know if there's a mortgage on the property, if someone is paying the mortgage, the bank doesn't foreclose, if it's not being, if the mortgage isn't being paid and the bank is in the process of foreclosing, that's a several year-long process that has only been made longer over the course of the past year with the pandemic, and the courts are just about starting to reopen up again now. So I can't say it'll go on and on indefinitely, but there's certain checks along the way that if it does become a safety hazard, an endangerment, we can accelerate the process.
Can't the township fine the owner for keeping an unsafe structure?
Yes,
I mean, there are local ordinances that cover such a thing.
yes, of
And the
course,
township can
yes,
fine or cite the owner of the property.
absolutely, but that's a local code enforcement official that has to go out and make a determination as to what exactly is unsafe. A property that's in and of itself, which is closed, shut down, not being used, is not necessarily an unsafe structure.
Well, if it's easily accessible, okay? In other words, just using it as an example, teenagers just climbing the fence, getting inside.
That doesn't make it unsafe in the legal definition.
It doesn't make it unsafe.
No, it's an attractive nuisance. It could create liability for that property owner, but it doesn't make it an unsafe structure. There's specific construction code criteria that the construction code official is obligated to follow under the law to make it an unsafe structure. What you're describing is an attractive nuisance.
I've read several local ordinances concerning residential properties, businesses, which cover businesses, residential properties, so forth.
Yeah.
That state basically that all structures must be kept in a safe, clean environment and condition,
Yes.
okay?
That's to answer your question, that again, can they be cited? Yes, if it's not in that condition, the code enforcement officer can go out and cite the property owner, they'll come here into municipal court, and they'll have to pay a monetary fine, so yes.
Okay. Well, I would suggest after 2 years, I think the code official should be down there citing the owner, or finding out who the owner is and citing him.
I'm sure Mr. Hatcher is gonna make him aware of that and perhaps follow up.
And then maybe we'll get some action, we'll get some movement on that property and get it taken care of.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Council Vice President, if I may?
Yes.
I was just going to suggest perhaps that the first approach to that would be talk to the owner. Have someone reach out to the owner and find out what their plans are, what their restrictions might be, maybe there's a reason, and then take it from there. This way we're giving everybody the benefit of the doubt.
That's a good idea. Yeah. My second thing on the agenda here is I use my computer to research occasionally township minutes. And as I go through the township minutes of public meetings, whenever there's a resolution that comes forward and a vote is taken by council, there's a list of who votes yea and who votes nay. They are never filled in. Never. I have no idea who votes yay or who votes nay. Is there any reason for this?
I mean, I'm not aware of any that they're missing. If you could tell me,
If you have specific ones.
the one date, I can take a look at it.
Well,
The
it should be-
agendas, the
it should
agenda
be
listed.
posted- It should be posted on the minutes,
Yeah,
correct? Okay, when I go on my minutes and I check, nothing's ever posted as to how any of the council people voted
on the minutes or the agendas?
on the minutes.
The minutes, okay, I'll have to take a look at it.
And that's been going on for ages. Never posted. The third thing is, what I would like to suggest to council is maybe, we have a beautiful computerized sign out front, and we put all kinds of good stuff on that, which I think is a great thing. Can I suggest that we also add to that, that maybe a few days or 3 or 4 days prior to a public township meeting, that also be posted on that sign? It never has been.
I can certainly add that if council's, the mayor.
Yeah, we'll take a look at that, because we have it on the website, it's in the papers, and I get your point, because not a lot of people go on the website or whatnot, and it is a main drag through town, and if we can make that happen, we certainly will do that.
People's memory are short.
I find mine getting shorter every year.
You know, you say, geez, there's a meeting coming up, but, you know, and then they say, geez, I missed it, you know, and it ride by all the time. If you see it out there, you know, it gives people a good idea when the meeting is. And the last thing I have on my agenda is, I don't know whether council has any information or not at this point as to whether the complex going in across the highway, whether there's going to be a traffic light at that location or not.
Right directly across the street?
Yes.
I'm not sure, I don't know if anybody has any information.
Anybody has any information on that?
No
Because the
traffic?
traffic is going to be incredible once that's completed. And, you know, I don't know how that's going to work out.
Right now, what I'm being told is there's not a plan for a traffic light there, no.
No?
No.
No traffic. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Bob Gilbert, 75 Stewart Avenue in Delran. What I'd like to first find out, have you guys found any progress on that little project from the governor's office?
No, we'll discuss it at our next work session. I
Okay.
know that we
I
brought
went over to the school
it. yeah.
today and talked to the superintendent. He's passed, because Mrs. Colodi is retired and she doesn't do it anymore, and Mr. Adams isn't there anymore. So he's gonna pass it off to the history section, gave him my phone number, my address, all that good stuff, and he's on board with it. So I'm waiting they're hoping to have kids in class, that's it. And he's going to pass it off to the history section. I should be getting a phone call from them, because when it was Mrs. Colodi or Mr. Adams, we never did anything, the vets. Mrs. Colodi would call our organization or Mr. Adams. We just came in and did what we did. So apparently that basically is going to be kind of the same thing. The history, whoever's going to take the history class for the Vietnam class is going to be in charge of everything, and we'll get contacted by that. So that's as far as that. Okay. But the gentleman just asked about the light over at the Chester Woods. You're going to have to forgive my ignorance, because I haven't been around for any of that stuff. I've been preoccupied with other things. My question is, what kind of housing is going to be in there? Is this going to be Section 8?
No,
What's it going to be?
it's affordable housing, correct?
Yes.
Affordable housing.
That's close to Section 8 though, isn't it?
No, go ahead, Mayor.
So, thanks, Mr. Gilbert. So,
Section 8 housing is a completely different thing. This is a low to moderate income housing, and it's only a portion of that. It's typically 20% of the homes are affordable, and they are visually completely the same from the outside. Certainly, maybe some of the amenities are different, but the only difference is that they're slightly reduced. You have to qualify for that, and off the top of my head, a moderate income in Burlington County for an individual is around $50,000. If it's an individual person, if it's a family of four, I think it's in the $70,000 range. So these are not people who are dependent on the government to pay for their housing. These are people who might be, I don't know, township employees that are just getting started, or young teachers, or people that are in their first job out of college. Typically, that's that low income, or perhaps seniors that have retired and now have a lower income than when they were in the workforce. So it is absolutely not.
Well, Section 8 is government, yeah, I know that.
Yes,
Yeah.
so those are typically people who are in far worse shape financially, and while they need a place to live too, it's not at Chester Woods across the street.
Okay, I have one other question about that. Is that a privately owned function over there?
Yes.
Okay. I have a small problem, but I don't have any kids, so I shouldn't have a problem. But as a member of this town, I find that if there's no one that's going to oversee who occupies those homes over there, we don't need any people, how do I put this delicately, that are derelict, like, people that have orientation for little children, because it's right next to the high school. I mean, it's right there.
Well,
I mean, if you got somebody that's a little bit deviant,
I don't know, I don't know how you can equate market rate housing and affordable housing to people. I guess you're assuming they're pedophiles or whatnot. I don't know if that's what you're alluding to, but let me just say that I'm one of 8 children, and my dad was a World War II vet, and we never made a lot of money. And if it wasn't for a friend giving my dad a piece of land and my uncle building a house for us, we never could have afforded a house because there was not affordable housing back when I grew up. And we were, I would think, a very nice family. We all went to high school. We got good grades. Many of us went to college. We all became productive members of society. But in today's world, if we got plopped into it right now, my family would have been able to take the advantage of affordable housing. So you can't, so just let me finish.
Yeah.
So you're going to have market rate housing, which is open, they can sell at the market rate, and then they're going to have units in there that look just like the other ones, but instead of maybe granite countertops, they have Formica, and maybe instead of tile, they have different kind of bathrooms, but they're all going to look the same, and then people that qualify for these will be able to enjoy Delran community, right, where otherwise they might not. So you could have a beautiful home in the most beautiful section, and somebody you said deviant could potentially move in there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, from that standpoint, I
understand what you're saying, because I grew up with a single parent. My mom raised myself and my brother. We lived in a half a double. Grew up, went to Riverside High School. So I understand that. My mom didn't make a whole hell of a lot of money, but she scrimped and saved, and we had a half a double. So I understand that. My mom was not wealthy. I actually one of the reasons I went into the service, number one, because I thought I was going to get drafted. Number two, when I went into the military, it left my mother one less mouth to feed.
yeah, but to going back to how do you expect us to screen who's going to move in there?
That's why I asked if it was privately owned.
Yeah, the builder's there to make
but
money.
I mean, is anybody going to? I don't want to be so pessimistic. With all the sick people that are out in the world today, Are they gonna screen? Because it's a high school right there. It's like putting, it sounds so bad when I say it, but there are a lot of sick people out there.
Well, you know, you're, I guess you're free to call the developer, the builder, and ask it if they're going to screen people, but
I mean, I don't have any kids, my kids are grown men, 43 and 46. So my youngest grandson's only 14, but he don't go to school around here. But you see it on TV all the time where you got people that hang around schools that don't have the best intentions for children. That was my only concern. Like I said, I don't have any kids in this area, don't have any grandchildren around here in this area, but I would think parents that do, that go to Holy Cross High School, or they go K through 12 now. So you got kindergartners over there, you got all the way to high school. So it was just a concern that I thought I would float. I don't know if you can talk to them. I don't know if you can do that or not. I would think they would screen their people is what I'm trying to say. It's just a thought.
Council President.
Go ahead.
Vice President. Mr. Gilbert, I think you tread on some really dangerous ground there. Could be people who live along Greenwood, could be a pedophile living there.
Oh, I understand that.
Could be pedophiles living next to the middle school or the intermediate school. You know, you can't label people and you can't screen people for that. I think it would be against the law. However, I think also, I know in the Delran schools, I'm not sure about Holy Cross, but they teach students today, unfortunately, about being approached, about being protective, about being cautious. So there's a lot of training with the children today, unfortunately.
They did that when I was growing up too.
Yeah. So I think that, you know, I understand what you're saying, but I think it's probably not as big issue as you might think.
Well, I hope it's not. I really do. I really hope it's not an issue at all.
Of course. Thank you for making the point.
Yeah, it was just something that came into my little pea brain, okay? I don't, y'all should know about this. You do know about the excitement that happened this morning, right? At Simon and Schuster?
No.
What excitement?
Oh, please, you guys don't know? They found a dead body there, where the trailers are. Guy committed suicide. The gun was laying right next to the body.
I go to work at 6:30 a.m. I missed that.
I mean, that's like, I got people I know that work there. They said they found a body laying out there, committed suicide in the trailer area.
Mr. Gilbert, it wasn't this morning, it was last week, and it's still under investigation. So
Okay, well, I was
it's not
told
something that we
it
can
came-
excuse me? It's not something that we can comment on publicly, but it's something that happened last week, and the police certainly are aware of it.
Okay, because the guy that I know that works there said they found the body this morning.
Okay,
Okay?
I'm just going by what the police
Yeah.
reported.
Great.
Couple quick things, no big deal here. You're talking about your ice cream thing. The VFW's got an ice cream party going on the 15th of August. $6 for adults, I think it's $4 for kids. There is a pig roast coming up. I don't have the date right now, but I can get it to you soon. Basically, we have no activity going on. I mean, Mr. Ketchum knows about this, being a member of my VBA group. We claim unclaimable bodies, cremains, and we bury them at General Doyle Cemetery. It's all, if you go into Vid's Deli, you'll see the thing right there, or at Holiday Ice Cream, we have a thing where I put up, you can make donations in there. We get no money from the government, none at all. The last count I remember before the pandemic hit, we had buried 302 service members. Their cremains were never claimed, and we buried them at General Doyle Cemetery. They get a full military funeral, 21 gun salute, the whole thing, flags. We have dignitaries that come for the flags. They love the flags. I don't know why, but they do. We reunited with family members, 416, I believe it was, the last count. We haven't been together since the pandemic. I haven't seen any of my buddies since this whole thing started. We only talk over the phone and stuff. We're hoping to have our first meeting the fourth Saturday of the month of September. We never work anyway, July and August, that's our time off. You say vacations and stuff, but hopefully we'll be able to start picking that up again. We should have a backlog of what I'm understanding from one of the vice presidents of the Cremine Society. We have a backlog of a few. I don't know exactly how many right now. So if anybody's interested, if you've never seen the ceremony, when I know about it, I can let you know if you want to go. It's out in off of 537. There's a golf course there. It's on Monmouth Road, and it's down the road, and then it's on the left-hand side. But we have a special area where we have a section, and we have our chaplain that does a complete like little bio on the person. They do a 21-gun salute. They play taps, and then those guys or women are put to rest like they should have been done a long time ago. The longest one we've ever had that nobody ever claimed their body or their cremains was 66 years they sat on a shelf in a funeral home. 66 years, never claimed. It's a shame that that goes on in today's society as far as the veterans that served this country. You know, your father served. It's just not right, but there was a gentleman named Roman Niedowitz, before he passed away. He's the one that started the program, and it's been one of the most rewarding things for me to go to these funerals and put these well-deserved veterans a final resting place that they deserve. That's it. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir.
Ladies.
Thank you. Commissioner?
Evening, everybody. Dan O'Connell, 5 Springcrest Drive in the Summerhill Development. I apologize for this raspy voice, but I want to thank you for the air conditioning. I think we can still meet in this room. I'm glad Chief Peak is still here. I wanted to stop by as Deputy Director of the Board of County Commissioners to add our thanks and appreciation for you guys honoring the firefighters and police and EMTs. Not only for this fire, but, you know, the chief can tell you, I've learned as liaison to public safety about mutual aid. And I don't know that a lot of our county residents may understand that. And that is where one department, whether it's police, fire, or EMTs, backs up the others when they're needed or if they're short. I wanted to be here last month, but I was out of town. I know you honored some of them there. But on behalf of our entire Board of County Commissioners, I wanted to thank you guys. Second, I wanted to also thank you on behalf of our board for your assistance with the recycling issue and the problem we had with that. We're told that the issue has been resolved. I know my last recycling pickup was done on time and according to Hoyle, but things happen and may happen in the future. If they do, much like we do here in town with trash collection, if they don't get to you, leave the cans by the curb, and they'll get to you as soon as they can. Having said that, it's nice to see everybody here, and I think you're doing a great job. Keep up the work. Good work.
Thank you for showing up, Dan. Anyone else from the public? Seeing no one, I'll take a motion to come out of public, please.
I make a motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, meeting's closed to the public. Last item on the agenda is, I need a motion to adjourn, please.
Motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No. All right. Meeting adjourned.
getting good at that.
Thank you very much.